Good evening to you. This is Bright Wellington coming to you from TVN Action News. Tonight we have a very special report. We begin in the city of Shushan. It has been reported that there is tremendous unrest at the palace of King Ahasuerus, ruler of over 127 provinces, from India to Ethiopia. After an all-night party, King Ahasuerus has allegedly sent Queen Vashti packing because she wouldn't attend the party, and as a result, will no longer be welcome at the palace. The king has most graciously agreed to come on the program tonight to address these issues. Good evening, Your Majesty. In your own words, please, how would you answer to these allegations, and can you tell us exactly what happened this past week?
Hello, thanks for having me on your show. Yes, I have invited all the princes, nobles, powers of Persia and its provinces to my palace for a party. We feasted on the best food of my kingdom and we drank gallons and gallons of the best wines. Man, it was a long party. Well, it actually lasted 180 days, something like that. As you can imagine, some have said it kind of got a little out of hand. Well, for some reason I got it in my head. I wanted to show off all my jewels, my money, and all my possessions. Like my beautiful queen, Vashti. Imagine my shock when she refused. That's right. She refused to come and parade in front of all my drunken comrades. So, I did what any self-respecting king would do. I took her crown and I banished her from the palace. Only problem now, I'm going to have to find another queen.
King Ahasuerus! Ladies and gentlemen, this is a major news alert. King Ahasuerus has just revealed to us right here on my show that he is in the market for a new queen.
Actually, I've already done it. Several weeks ago, I sent out a decree to all in my empire. I called for all the young maidens of the land to come to compete to be my next queen. Wow. Well, the response was overwhelming. Amazing. So great. I have chosen my next queen. Her name, Esther. From the very first moment I saw her, I knew I loved her more than all the other maidens in the kingdom, in my kingdom. So I took the royal crown and I placed it on her head. I made her my queen, yes. Then I had another party and I made it another great feast, only this time I called it the Feast of Esther. It was great, it was huge, it was amazing. I love parties.
Thank you for sharing, King Ahasuerus. Thank you so much for honoring us with your presence. We now continue on our coverage on the shake-up at the palace by welcoming to the show the uncle of the queen-elect. His name is Mordecai. He is an official in the king's court and sits at the king's gate. Now tell us, Mordecai, how did this amazing turn of events happen in your niece's life?
When the king's decree went out about him looking for another queen, I knew the Lord God of Israel was calling Hadassah for such a time as this. So I encouraged her to enroll in the king's beauty school and then to sign up for the competition, but my only requirement was that she never told anyone that she was a Jew. She abided by my words, and she was chosen to be the queen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a major breaking news. It has now been revealed to us that our new queen is a Jew.
You see, about a month ago, as I was sitting at the king's gate, I overheard two of the king's servants plotting to kill the king. I immediately went to the queen and told her what I had heard. She immediately informed the king, and he had arrested the two people. They were immediately hung on the gallows in the city square. The incident was recorded in the King's Book of Chronicles, but then it was quickly forgotten. Not long after that, the king promoted a man named Haman to be in charge of all the princes and servants. The king commanded all to bow down to Haman whenever he passed by. Well, I, being a Jew, would never bow down to such a scoundrel, or to anyone for that matter except my God. So I refused. This made Haman very angry, and he set out to destroy me and all the Jews in the kingdom. After that, Haman got this idea in his head quickly, and went to report it to the king.
Yes, I have the report right here. It says that Haman said to the king, and I quote, "My great king, if it pleases you, let a decree go out that all the Jewish people are to be destroyed." What did you say to Esther?
I told her that she had to go to the king and plead for the people's lives. She told me she couldn't do that. You see, if anyone goes to the king without being summoned first, it means a sure and immediate death. But if you refuse and remain silent, I believe that deliverance will come for the Jews from another place. But Esther, who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this?
Oh my. What did she answer?
I get all misty-eyed every time I think of this. She said, "Gather all the people to fast for me for 3 days, and I will go to the king, and if I perish, I perish."
This is a very compelling story, of which I promise you we will stay on. Thank you, Mordecai, for your report. Our next guest is the very one who holds a key to understanding this story. We have in our studios the one and only, second only to the king himself, Mr. Haman. Sir, we are honored. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I know, it's a pleasure.
Well, Haman, I can call you Haman, can't I? Haman, why don't you tell us in your own words what has happened at the palace?
I am, as you know, the main decision maker in this kingdom, and basically the rightful ruler. In fact, I was set to take over when the Jew Mordecai refused to give me the respect I deserve. He refused to obey my decrees, he refused to honor me, and he refused to bow down to me. So I set out to remove him permanently, if you get what I mean. Well, you can imagine my surprise when Queen Esther announced that she was going to have a banquet with only 2 guests invited. The king and yours truly. Yeah, that's right, me. I was so thrilled that I went skipping down the palace halls. But when I saw Mordecai, that he didn't stand when I approached, nor did he tremble before me like all the other subjects do. I was filled with rage. I immediately went home crying to my wife, Zeresh. She calmly patted me on the back and said, "The solution is quite simple. On the morning of the banquet, build a gallows 50 feet high and have Mordecai hanged there. Then go merrily off to the banquet." So that's exactly what I did, or planned to do.
What? You plan to have Mordecai executed? You are admitting this on national TV?
Well, no. Yes. I never actually did it. That night, the king couldn't sleep, so he started reading the kingdom's history books and discovered that Mordecai had once saved his life, but that nothing had been done to honor him. He calls me in and out of the blue and asks what should be done to honor someone he delights. Well, I immediately thought he was speaking of me, of course. So I suggested he dressed him in one of his finest royal robes, and then place him on one of his most royal horses, and parade him through the city square, while everyone proclaims as he passes, "Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delights to honor." How was I to know that he meant that for Mordecai the Jew, and that I was to lead the horse? How humiliating! Well, at least, after all that, I was summoned to the palace for the banquet.
Well, Mr. Haman, that is quite an impressive story. But wait, I have just received word that Queen Esther has just arrived in our studio. Thank you for your report, Haman. You'll need to leave the set for now. We will return to our interview in just a few minutes. But first, we are joined by our beautiful Queen Esther. Good evening to you, lovely Queen. What a nice and beautiful surprise. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you. It's so good to be here. I was watching your show on my TV in the carriage, and I thought you would want to hear the rest of the story.
Well, yes. We have just heard from Haman about the banquet you hosted for he and the king. Can you tell us about that?
Well, it's true. I did hold a banquet for Haman and the king, but it wasn't for the reasons that Haman thought. During the second day of the banquet, the king asked me to state my petition. He said he would grant me anything up to half his kingdom. Well, I knew the time had come to speak up for what I believe in, so I blurted out that I and my people had been sold to be destroyed, killed, and annihilated.
Wait, Your Majesty. Excuse me for interrupting, but what are you saying? Are you confirming on this show that you, too, are a Jew?
Yes, I am. And Haman wanted to annihilate all the Jewish people from the world. Well, the king jumped up and demanded to know who would do such a thing. And I stood up and I pointed my finger and I said, the adversary, the enemy, wicked Haman.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard it here first. It is now confirmed. Wicked Haman drew up the decree to have all the Jewish people destroyed. Wait! I am getting the report in my earpiece. Right here. That Haman is right now being arrested by the palace guards and taken away to be hanged on the gallows. He had built for Mordecai. We are now getting reports from all over Shushan that the Jewish people are saved. They have defeated their enemies and are now celebrating their victory in the streets of Shushan.
Yes, and the king has declared this day to be set apart as a day to celebrate our victory. It shall be called Purim, and it will be kept throughout every generation and every family, and celebrated throughout all the world as the day that the Lord delivered the Jewish people from the hand of their enemy. Praise be to God.
Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me, Bright Wellington, TBN Action News, with a special report. Tomorrow we will be having a special guest named Noah, I believe it is. Yes, he's building this very large boat, and he's speaking of something called rain. I don't know. Good evening to you all.
We want to give nice big thanks out to you guys. Right, baby?
For Russian.
Yeah, finally. We would like to give another little thanks to you, all of you out there in Spokane.
We miss you and we love you.
Really great match. We love you. You are the best. We are the greatest. It's huge. It's gonna be great.
So much love from Israel.
Yeah, that's right. Lots of love from us to you and all of yours. Lots of greetings, smooches and kisses and hugs, and all that good stuff.
From the land of Purim. This is Esther and my king.
Achashverosh. In case any of you were concerned about the pronunciation of that word, not Ahasuerus or Achashverosh.
Here's our little Esther.
Wow, baby!